I mean, everybody fails. And I think that's very important. I think the most important thing I learned from my podcast is that everybody has a bad days. Everybody has this journey really, really hard. No matter what they tell you on their on no matter what they tell you on their websites or how they look, they all fail.
All right, guys, we're back here for part two. Anatoly Spektor is here. We, if you haven't listened to the first part of this episode, go ahead and go back and listen to the last episode. Anatoly told us a whole big story about how he started out in Latvia, went to Canada, and then got a degree in engineering, or I guess in computer development, software development, and then basically used that career to build up an Amazon business, which actually is really similar to my story as well, since I also have an engineering degree and jumped out of an engineering job and jumped into the Amazon thing. And so Anatoly now is getting to the second part of his story where he's building up, he's gotten his business. He's a lot of bumps along the road. He's brought up his business to the point where it's making a good income. He's now part-time on his day job. And I want to talk about the second part of your story about starting the podcast and now kind of where you are now and where you're going to.
Yeah, it's definitely. So right now we have those two products. We had I think this is another good segue, and I think there's a lot of learning there. So we had these two products, supplement products, that had a lot of issues, and they still have lots of issues because Amazon is like a gray area thing, and we didn't know that. Again, I'm not going to name them because I don't want other people get into trouble. So, so unfortunately, I think they're making lots of money for us. Each of them are about $100,000 product, which is really good. But I think we're going to sell them off Amazon. So my idea there to go to retail and to go to other stores and to sell them on Shopify. So I'm not going to kill them because they're amazing products, and I spent lots of time designing them. They also were selling without any reviews. And
these are supplement products?
Yeah, supplement products. Yeah.
And so tell me, I want to know a little bit more about the off Amazon stuff. You said Shopify, but are you trying to get into like physical retail stores?
Yeah. So what I found is, and I think this might be a good tip for somebody who is maybe on next level, somebody who is selling already well. What you can do is you can go to your competitor website, and sometimes they have, we are in these stores. So I found where stores my competitors are. And so
Nice.
our new strategies, like my VAs, contacting, sending templated to like hundreds of stores, saying like, oh, do you sell this product? Tell me more about this. And then, oh, maybe you want to sell this. Mine is like a better version, so maybe you want to sell this. And so my plan is to go to some retail stores with them because it's much easier to sell in retail, and they look amazing, so I know people will buy it. They look much better than everything else in packaging, and we have a different angle on them. So I think in retail they would sell well.
Let's explore that a little bit. So you have just a regular VA. Did you train them yourself? Did you hire one that has expertise? And then how are you kind of incentivizing them right now?
Yeah, that's a good. So my team right now is I have one VA who is Amazon VA, and I have one my personal VA. So and they do separate things. My Amazon VA is focused strictly on, and apart from that, also I have lots of contractors for different things. So this VA does not do copy. This VA does not do product research. This VA does not do images. So I have other people doing that. But job of this VA is to do all the operations. So creating labels, sometimes searching for products, because we have like we have some algorithm to do that. And Titans teach that, like using their criteria to search for some pro and stuff like that. But this VA is responsible for really taking care of Amazon business day to day. And then my job is to find how to grow this business, how to find some new opportunities. While my personal VA is helping me with other crazy ideas I have. So my crazy idea is to build this brand to, let's say, get this brand to Walmart or to retail stores. So then I create templates and I tell them, my personal VA is really good at scraping things, and I'll tell you how I hired them in a second. But so I'm giving him like instructions. I'm recording video on Loom saying, this is my competitor, this, you go there and fill in the spreadsheet. And then when you fill in the spreadsheet, here's a template, send template. So really, he's really good at following instructions. So one VA is creative. He's better than me with Amazon. So he's doing his job. I don't know many of these things. He's doing his stuff. And I just look at
Nice.
results. We have some KPIs. For my personal VA, he's really good at following my instruction. Make reservation to a restaurant, create like this, I don't know, edit a podcast. Or like add intro and outro, mostly not like editing ums and ums, like edit intro and outro to a podcast. Let's say post a podcast to here, send a message, send an email, check my mailbox. So he's doing this kind of things. With hiring VAs, I spend lots of time hiring people, and I think this is one of the most important things. I know you talk a lot about hiring as well, so we can geek out on that. But you like onlinejob.ph. I like that side, but I also do Upwork because I like to keep them on a contract and it's easier to pay them. It's more expensive, I'll be honest, but it's less hassle, and the reviews are already there. Finding people are much easier on Upwork. Onlinejob.ph, you find a lot of spam because you'll need to have some tips and tricks. Like what I do is onlinejobs.ph. I create a huge, I create the application and I put some hidden things there, like start this application with a 10 million journey, let's say. And if nobody starts the application with this, I don't even consider that. And onlinejobs.ph, I also always jump on a video call with them to check their internet, see how they speak English and stuff like that. So
Yep.
always do that. I would do a trial week to see how they adapt. I always record everything they need beforehand in a Loom videos, and I send them those videos, see how they follow the instructions, give them simple tasks, and if they don't work, it just bye-bye.
Yeah, one thing we can, if you guys want to know more about hiring VAs and the techniques that I use to hire them, episode 50, I looked it up. Episode 57 is why you should hire a VA, and episode 58 of the Zoncom podcast is how to hire a VA, how to hire the best VA. And so we go through the whole technique of like how we set the job posting, and then how we test people. And we do the same thing with a little keyword to kind of like test to make sure they're paying attention. And we do a little VA quiz to so we kind of can sort people by see how well they do at certain little tasks. So if you want to see all that, episode 57 and 58.
Yeah. Another thing, I don't think you spoke about that in your, I think I listened to one of those because I love your podcast as well. I think that
Thanks.
the one thing that people might also do is to give you a suggestion. So let's say I was hiring social media manager, and the last thing I put there is look at my 2 social medias and suggest me things. And most people don't, even though they know they put like a main thing in, they don't give me suggestions. When they don't give me suggestions, I just cut it.
I
And
like
this
that.
is how I found about 2 social media managers. We were doing a lot like a personal fit, so we had to part ways with one of them, but she was the most amazing social media manager, and I found her this way. And the next one I found a couple of days ago, also very, very good. And this is a good way, so somebody can try. Small hack there as well, because I like practical
love
stuff
that.
as well. I like to give some practical tips because I hire lots of people and go through lots of people. So those will be 3 people in my team, and they do their own things. And my wife is doing some of the managing operations, and I do mostly creative work and try finding funding and networking with people, and through podcast also create partnerships and stuff like that.
So, Anatoly, I want to ask about that in terms of networking and the power of networking and talking to mentors and talking to other sellers and stuff like that. You do have your podcast. I want to know what kind of things have you learned from interviewing so many people on your podcast?
Yeah. Networking overall, I think is one of the most important things. And finding mentors is one of the most important things. And people say that all the time. And I was like, well, whatever. I built my business to a certain level. But I think Tony Robbins said that well. And some people are not fans of Tony Robbins, but I think you need to listen to a man who has a huge business or something to learn from it. And he says, find somebody who already there and do what they did. So I realized that this is the best way, because there are things that I don't know. Let's say I had all those issues with storage sheds. If somebody was being a drop shipping, tell me all those things, I would not go for this. And every mistake you make, you go to a certain course and it costs you a lot of money and a lot of time to go this course. If somebody could steer you a little bit to a different course, you can go exactly where you need to be. That's why one thing I do right now, I actually for Titan, I work with Justin Dyson. We work with him, and it's costs a lot of money. You pay about like $400, $500 an hour, but I think that's completely worth it because I can pick up brain who's somebody who built a business that I am planning to build. He already walked that path. So for me, at some point, I have those couple products I want to launch, and I'm like, but it's just me. It's in my head. I can't speak to people a lot about it because they can copy it, but I need somebody who walked that path to tell me, am I getting crazy? Am I doing the right thing? Am I thinking in the right way? Look at the data with me and just go through all of this. And I think this is just invaluable for me. And all what he might just do and say, and what I think we went for data, and he's like, that's a good idea. I knew it's a good idea, but I need somebody to tell me, because if he would find something that's not good, I think it would be amazing, because I'm spending lots of time, lots of money, lots of resources on this. So if he can find something that I don't see, and he gave me amazing advice on a couple of things, it's just worth the money right away. So for people who don't think that they need to pay somebody, I think the best way to find a mentor is to pay them. Find somebody who there is already, approach them and pay them. And I know that I talked to Gil Petersil, who is like Tony Robbins's friend, and he's like on the networking, one of the best networks in the world. He says, mentorship, you never pay for mentorship, you pay for coaching. So you can call it coaching. I'm fine with calling it coaching. But you need to find a coaching. You find a coach and pay for a coach, but find somebody.
So one thing, some of you may recognize that name, Justin Dyson, as because he has been on the podcast several times, and I looked up the episodes with him also. From Dropout to Multi-Millionaire is Justin Dyson's origin story, which is episode 48. And that one, there's another one too, episode 51. He did with us as well. But that episode with Justin is actually my most listened to episode. So it's a very golden one. His story is just like the best.
Yeah, Justin is amazing, and I think I resonate with him because we have a lot of. I mean, he was mentor of the Titan groups that I was part with, and I really resonate with him, and that's why I'm like, I need to find. If you're looking for a mentor, a very important thing, you need to find something who you look up to and you trust. If you don't look up to this person, this is not the right mentor. It's not the right coach, because if there's a lot of people I talk to, like. I know one guy, I don't name names. He made, I don't know, $200 million, and he's in Bali. Amazing guy, but he's not someone I look up to. He's a good person, and we're connecting very, very well. But there's not something like, wow, I want to be like this guy, because there's some traits that, or some ways he's doing things that I personally do it differently. But there are people who are on the same wavelength in a business with you. Those will be the ones that you want as a mentors and coaches, because they will give you advice that will propel you forward. And the question about what I learned from a podcast, I always ask people as the last question of my podcast, this is my journey, so give me an advice. People always, so I have advice from about, I don't know, 100 brightest people in the Amazon space and in the world, from the world top networkers, from people who are making hundreds of millions of dollars on Amazon. And what I learned is that, I mean, everybody fails. And I think that's very important. I think the most important thing I learned from my podcast is that everybody has a bad days. Everybody has this journey really, really hard. No matter what they tell you on no matter what they tell you on their websites or how they look, they all fail. And they fail in the same way as you do. So you think you're just the one failing this way, everybody does. And for me, this is the biggest eye-opener, because my best question to ask people, I mean, you can take that question if you want, but what was your biggest failure and what did you learn from it? I think this is question that opens so many people, because everybody talks about successes, but success does not resonate. Unfortunately, success does not resonate, because success is, success. Cool. Amazing. I can look up for it, but it doesn't resonate with me on an emotional level. Failure always resonates on an emotional level. When I tell you I struggle and my listing gets suspended, people listen to it. Damn it, I had the same thing. I can relate. I can resonate. And I think when I talk to like Scott Needham, who is making $350 million on Amazon, one of the biggest Amazon names out there, and he's saying, my account got suspended. I was losing money. I'm like, I can resonate because I had similar things. And you on this level, he has like private Amazon concierge, everything, and his account got suspended. You're like, wow, this guy at this level has the same issues. So this means that I'm on the right track. It's not that problem with Amazon. It's just everybody is in this process. And so those are just things that trade. When you're doing certain things, there are certain characteristics to it. So suspending accounts, well, it's really bad, but everybody goes through it. So it's not that bad. And if you learn from it, I think the journey is much more joyful because those bad days are not as bad when you can relate to so many people. Does that
I
answer your
love
question?
that. Yeah, I love that, Anatoly. And one thing I always tell people is one thing I learned in this book called The Lean Startup.
Yeah, great book.
That
Eric Rice.
yeah, it's a great book. It he says you should fail quick and fail cheap. Right?
Yeah.
So like you don't need to go all out and spend $45,000 on a product launch. Just just do that 3,000, 4,000, $5,000 order, get that 500 units in, get that thing going. Especially if you're starting out without a brand. If you're already established and kind of already have a product line and a brand, you're pretty confident you can sell a product. You can go a little bit harder than that. But I think it's important that you set yourself up for failure in a good way. Know that you can fail. Failure is always an option. And know that you should be able to do it cheap and do it quick and just do it over and over and over again, because the faster and the cheaper and the quicker you can fail, the faster you can succeed.
Yeah, yeah. And always read Amazon Terms of Service. I don't think people read that thing a lot, but now I read that all the time. Like my VAs, before they even give me any products to look at, they check Terms of Service that you can sell that, because there are a lot of things that you cannot sell. They have no idea, or a lot of materials that there are some issues with them, and you will get suspended right away. You'll let's say order a lot of inventory, and then you'll create your listing and you get suspended. So one thing is create a test listing. uh, uh, it's all about
Ah,
failing fast. Create test listing, fill everything in, see if you get suspended or not, because there are some categories and some products, and I've seen a couple of them. You create a listing, you put some words in, you get suspended right away. So make sure
and
you
that's
create the
that's in
listing
the
first.
supplement space, right? Because I've actually never personally experienced that kind of stuff because I'm not in the supplement space.
Supplement space for sure. Other
Yeah.
ones, I think there's some other products like pick locking, lock picking tools. Let's say, for example,
Oh,
might be one. You
interesting.
might decide to do lock picking tools. You create a listing, you get
Huh.
suspended right away. So it's very good idea to create a test listing to see if you're suspended or not, and then read Amazon Terms of Service before you do anything. So it's part of
That's great.
our validation process. That's another quick tip. I hope helps for somebody. Can save you
That
lots of money. If it helped you, let me know, because I know it helps some people for sure. And myself, I was able to save about 10 grand not launching a product because of this.
That's great advice. And there are actually lists of prohibited words that you can't use on listings, and some of them are like published and some of them are unpublished. They're kind of like collected together. So you want be careful of those prohibited words. FDA is a big regulator that stops a lot of supplement stuff and a lot of edible products. Anything that you literally food, or also anything that goes into your body. Any lotions and potions are a big one too. Anything with kids, anything that's a plaything, considered a plaything under the age of 12, that's heavily regulated. Batteries, heavily
Yeah.
regulated. Very
Uh,
pain in the ass.
and
Magnets, also a big one.
on kids, there are also, when you read terms of service, you will realize that there are some certifications you also might need. So even though if you not get suspended right away, in about a month or two, for our binoculars, Amazon suspended account saying, well, provide the certificate and then you can continue. But let's say you don't know that. Many Chinese factories don't tell you anything about it. Some of them have it, some don't have it. If you do a certificate yourself, it costs you about $100,000. Some of them can cost you about $100,000 to test. Like you need to test some poisonous materials, and you need to test some crazy, like in crazy ways. So it can be very, very expensive. Sometimes you need to test like the whole batches, and it can be very, very expensive. So
We've
I
done that, and the testing costs like $400,
some of it
$500.
Yeah, I
And it's
know.
like
I
a
know.
one-time test that as long as you don't change the product, that's it. You're done forever.
Yeah, I know. If you like for supplements, there are some things that if you test for potency, if you test for what is exactly there, you can go. I know at least $30,000. Somebody was quoting us for some time. I don't know if this is accurate or not. Maybe it was a high-end company, but I know some of them did even higher. Like if you want to test a product line, if you need to test a whole product line, it will be even more.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, it can get expensive. And for kids, I think they were quoting us about $2,500 for the test for some certification. So yeah, it can get very expensive. I'm just saying that it can vary, and some of them can get very, very expensive. So just read about what certifications you need. I'm sure there's a workarounds, and not nobody's paying $30,000. There's ways how to get around it, but I mean, cutting corners always catches you. So other thing that I want to tell somebody who is thinking about all this: don't cut corners, because I did cutting corners a lot. I was trying to go fast, and I was trying to cut corners, or I just did not read things properly, and it always costed me a lot. So one thing I would recommend: just don't cut corners.
Nice. I love it, Anatoly. Hey guys, I got some good news for you. We have a webinar coming up this coming week. If you're listening to this when it downloaded or within a few days of this episode being fresh and new and recently downloaded, we have a webinar coming out on June 15th. It's a masterclass, a live masterclass on listing conversions. So listing conversions is like how to make your listing perfect and beautiful and make it pop and get those conversion rates higher. The big thing that we want with conversions, of course, we have the same products, the same photography, the same everything. If we can bump our conversions by just a few percentage points, it dramatically increases our sales and dramatically increases our profits. So it's really, really important that you learn how to do proper conversion and proper listing optimization. So a big thing they're going to cover is the buyer intent on how to maximize conversions and figure out, like, when people search certain things, what are they wanting? What's their intent behind that search, right? Also, we're going to go behind enemy lines and figure out how to analyze our competitors. This is like crazy. If you figure out the kind of keywords and the kind of ways that your competitors are doing their listings, it gets you crazy awesome insight into how you can match them and then exceed them. Like I always say, look at what your competition is doing, figure out why they're doing it, and do it better. Also, we're going to avoid the A9 apocalypse. The A9 apocalypse is like the rank, and the A9 algorithm is the rank thing of the on Amazon. And I don't know if you guys follow the news at all, but like last month there was a bit of a shakeup on the A9 algorithm. So we're going to figure out how to avoid the A9 apocalypse, and we're going to give you a listing optimization checklist. So kind of the 1, 2, 3, 4 checklist on exactly what to do for your listings. Honestly, that is so valuable. We took that same checklist and we went through our entire listings, and we brought our listing conversion rates on average from 13% to 14.5%. 1%, is that a big deal? I mean, it doesn't feel like it's a big deal, right? Who cares what 1%? Let's think about it. 13% to 14.5%. Okay, that means that we had a 10% increase in conversions, which means 10% increase in revenue. But we didn't pay really anything for it. We didn't have to buy more products. We didn't have to do any more launches. We didn't have to do any craziness. We just got 10% boost in sales. And those sales, that like extra conversion, those are the most profitable sales because all of our overhead's covered in other places, and those sales are just like the best, right? So really, honestly, it's a fantastic checklist. And also, we're going to figure out the ranking secrets of all of us 7-figure sellers. And also, my buddy Dan Ashburn and Luke Knight are coaching this. They're doing this webinar. They're both absolutely fantastic, literally the best in the industry. I have been on many working calls and conferences and like work parties and everything. I see them almost every single week talking about listing conversions. Just a fantastic group of people who are going to be discussing this stuff. So if you're interested, June 15th at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. GMT, which is UK time. So if you're on the West Coast of the United States, noon if you are on the East Coast of the United States, and 4 p.m. if you are in Western Europe. So, guys, come check it out. It's going to be fantastic time, fantastic information, well worth your time. The link to get those to reserve your spot is in the show notes. Check it out. Click that link. Sign up. It's all free right now. It will be going behind a paywall later if you do not watch it live. So come check it out. So let's go ahead and jump to our three favorite questions we love asking everybody.
All right.
The first question we want to ask is your big why. Why do you do this? Why do you have an entrepreneurial journey? Why not just keep your day job in Canada as a software developer?
Yeah. I think there are three reasons. One of them is selfish, one of them is less selfish, and the other is unselfish. Selfish reason is I like to have fun. I think that life should be a joy. People who believe that life's a struggle and you need to struggle while you're awake, I don't resonate. I resonate that I believe life is a joy. So for me, I just think that you need to have joy, and the only way to have joy is to work less and work on what you like. I think if you work on things that you like, you don't call it even work. Sometimes I do pro research and I call it a joy because I enjoy it. So there's no reason for anyone in this age to struggle. 100%, no matter where you are, you can find a way to make money and to work less. You can create a system that can work for you, and you don't like my buddy Alex Hoodie. He's living in Bali as well. Alex Hoodie-tan, you can check him out. He's enlightened millionaire. He works 4 hours a week or less, and he enjoys himself every day. So you can do that. It's possible, and people are not special. So I believe that selfish reason, I just want to have fun. And less selfish reason, I want my kids to travel a lot. I wanted my kids to experience. My son was in 15, I think, countries. Can count in 4 languages. He enjoys being outside. It teaches him to meet different cultures, meet different people, to be open, to eat different foods, to explore. And I think for kids, in their childhood is very, very important. That's what I want for my children. It's less selfish reason. Unselfish reason, I want to make a change. I like to support initiatives like ocean cleaning the oceans, exploring oceans. I want to support plastic. Here in Bali, we have a thing called plastic exchange, how we can support people changing plastic for rice and cleaning Bali out of plastic. And then I want to support, like, I love animals. I want to support dog sanctuaries, stuff like that. So any resources and time for that. So it's my unselfish reason. So those 3 whys, I think they relate. They all are one big
that.
why, but there's 3 angles of them.
That's perfect. So living life with joy, not working too much, but I love that. That's fantastic. So the next thing I want to ask is what kind of book or podcast or something, some piece of media that you can share with the audience?
Should there be one, or can I read a lot, so a couple books.
Let's rattle off your favorite books, or maybe pick one that's your favorite, or do 10. That's fine.
I want to do different angles because some people like different things. First, if you like fiction, you want to learn something. There will be Guide to the Galaxy. I don't remember the whole name. Hijackers Guide to the Galaxy. I think that's an amazing book. Everybody should read it. It's very fun. I love
it. Also, the big one on that one too is the audiobook is really good because the author Douglas Adams. Is that his name?
Yeah. The audiobook is much better.
He reads it and he does the whole story and like acts it out and stuff like that. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I listen to
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or the Universe. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe.
Or to the Galaxy. I think there are 2 parts of it. So,
or the Galaxy. Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure.
So one of those. It will be in the show notes. You guys will check it out. The correct one. If you like mindset books, some of my favorite ones are, I think it's called Awakening by Anthony de Mello. And anything you find by Anthony de Mello, he's a Jesuit priest who just doesn't, he's just so amazing. He talks about mindset, how to open your mind, and he just amazing. And I'm not a religious person, but I think everybody should read that book. On the mindset, again, Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, one of the best books you can read about how to unclutter your mind. Amazing book. And Tony Robbins I'm reading right now. I wasn't always a fan of Tony Robbins just because we don't resonate that much, but I think the book Awaken the Giant Within, one of his best books, how to change beliefs, how to start living the life of joy. I definitely recommend that. Then a lot of, I think some people like to learn from others. So there are a couple biographies I really, really love. I read a lot. I read about 50 books a year. So I'm, in my mind, like a lot of books are there, but I think the top biographies that I would recommend would be The Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. The new one is really, really amazing. Audiobook.
Yes.
He narrates himself. Just like a lot of live lessons there. Really recommend.
Oh man, I just finished that one. That one's really good.
Really good. Yeah, audiobook because his voice is amazing. Phil Knight, he has the Shoe Dog. Shoe Dog is his story. And for Amazon sellers, I think you need to read two books: Alibaba by the biography of Jack Ma, and the Everything Store, history of Amazon, I guess, and Jeff Bezos to understand better how it all works.
Yes. Oh, I love all those books. I love
Yeah,
all of those.
amazing.
I've gotten the Tony Robbins Awaken the Giant Within several times. As a recommendation. I've never personally read that book, but the ones you just described that were the business ones. Yes, I love all those ones.
Yeah.
The fun thing too is I actually read the Phil Knight book, the Shoe Dog. I read that while I was traveling, and I was in London at the time, I think, and so it was kind of like 1/3 through my trip at the time. And he talks about part of the book. He says, "Oh, part of the thing that really made me do the things I do was taking 1 year off to travel around the world." And he has this whole story about how he went to Greece and he saw Nike, the goddess of victory or athletes or something like that. And that's where he got the story for. That's how he got the name for Nike. And I was like, oh yes, like I'm on a worldwide tour too. This is awesome. Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story. And one for you, I know I'm pretty sure you haven't read that because it's not that popular, but it's an amazing story of the guy who escaped being, I guess, killed on World War II and became one of the biggest billionaires in the world. Am I Being Too Subtle by Sam Zell? This is one of the most amazing books. Really recommend to listen to the audiobook. It's really, really good. And then one book on the business side and overall that I really love is called Navalmanac. Almanac by Naval Ravikant. Very small book. Really, really good. I actually remember two more, so I'll just say two more business books. The Greatest Salesman in the World is one of the best small books you can read on how to sell. Which the book name is weird, but I'm guarantee you it will change your life. Definitely changed mine.
Matthew McConaughey actually talked about that in his book, right?
Oh, I think he did. Yeah, maybe. But I read
the greatest salesman in the world is the greatest salesman in the world. Well, spoiler alert, is the person who's reading the book currently, which is yourself, right? So like this is how you become the greatest salesman.
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey actually had that as part of his story where he reads that book and he's like, he's going to school for like something boring like accounting or something. And he's like, screw this. And he just like quit and went to acting school and then became a big famous actor. 100%. I forget how the salesman thing ties in with him becoming an actor. I don't know why, but that was part of the book. That book was kind of like critical to him.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's you learn a lot not from actual advice because tactics change, but the whole points became still the same. And the one, Chet Holmes, the Ultimate Sales Machine would be another one because I think people need to sell. And if you're into online, .com Secrets by Russell Brunson would be something that you should read. Just practical books, like really practical guides would be .com Secrets probably. So that's
man, you just added a lot to my wish. I've read about half these books, but not the other half. So now I'm itching.
If you need a book recommendation, you can always tell me because I read a lot. I just finished a biography of Barack Obama, 29 hours of listening. Really, really good book. So if you need any recommendations at any point, I'm always here for you.
You know, we have a book club inside of Titan. So I know. I get to
Atomic Habits. I get to pick the problem is I usually read those books. So, but I love those. E-Myth, actually, that's one of the Titans. I think was there also a really good book for outsourcing and realizing that you are two books on mindset shifting as a being enabler instead of operator will be E-Myth and Rocket Fuel. I recommend those two as well for people to read. Really good books.
Yes. Oh man.
Sorry, lots of recommendations. I know it's a lot.
That's fantastic. We also have a podcast about our must-read books for entrepreneurs. I'm looking it up right now, but those are like fantastic recommendations, and I love all those books. All the ones that I've read, I love all those books. I found it. So episode 15 and episode 16, so they're kind of older episodes, but they are the best books for private label sellers. Books. That's the top 8 books.
Cool. I'll listen to today in the gym for sure.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, Anatoly, let's leave our audience with one thing we like to always tell everybody. What is one, or maybe you're welcome to several if you'd like, actionable things that Amazon sellers can do today?
Okay. I mean, it slipped my mind, but let me think about it in a second. I think for people...
Maybe read the last 25 books that you suggested?
No. Let's do... I think people on different paths of their journey. Somebody is already making money. Somebody's just starting out. If you're just starting out, I recommend you to do thing that I talked about. One of the most important things is to, when you build your product, build a 3D mockup and ask yourself, why should people buy mine? It's a very, very important question. And if you don't get an answer, keep on iterating on that and don't settle, because you need to produce, these days, you need to produce the best product, category-defining product in your industry. Otherwise, well, you're just wasting your time. Somebody told me recently, and this guy has millions and millions of dollars, and he's creating a huge resort, Game of Thrones like resort. And I'm like, why are you doing this? He has like this hidden paths, he has like hidden rooms, library opening, bookshelves are opening. I'm like, why are you doing this? And he told me a really cool thing. He said, it takes as much amount of time for me building this as building a huge other villa. But imagine free marketing and how much easier for me to get guests in here. So it will take you as much amount of time to build the most amazing product as the most boring product usually. But in the most amazing products, people will buy it because, well, you already tested everything. So I really recommend you, and don't go crazy molds. Just figure out some small things you can improve to make it better. I'm not saying you spend all your time doing it, but I'm saying you focus on what people need and then build it. For people who are in a start of their journey, I think that would be the best advice. And people who are already making some money and want to grow, find a mentor who are already there and copy them, and get out of Amazon, because Amazon is a sales channel. Somebody, I think Ryan Daniel Moran told it once, and I think again, I'm not resonate with all what he's saying, but I think I respect him a lot because he achieved what I want to achieve. So even though I sometimes don't resonate with thoughts, I think I catch some of the cool things that I need to learn. And one of the things he said, if you're just selling on Amazon, you're an Amazon sales rep. You're not really an entrepreneur, because entrepreneur is a person who builds businesses. So don't say you're an Amazon seller. I don't think Amazon seller is already a weird name for yourself. You're an entrepreneur using Amazon as your sales channel. So get to retail, get to other sources, make sure you diversify, because, well, Amazon can just take your business away really, really quickly if you're not doing that. So that will be my 2 advices. Hopefully that makes sense.
Oh, I love it, Anatoly. I love it, love it, love it. So thank you so much for doing this 2-parter with us. We learned a lot about your journey through Latvia, through the Soviet Union, and then moving to Canada, becoming an engineer, and then going into the Amazon business. And then, of course, all of your insight with all the people you've talked to on your podcast. So it's the 10 million journey.
Yeah,
right?
Anytime, Andrew. I love your podcast. I really respect what you're doing, and I learn a lot from you. So thank you to being you. I really learned a lot from you. Honored to be here.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's very nice of you. Thank you. And how can people find your podcast?
Yeah. So if you go to 10 million, and 10 is a letter, 10, the number, sorry. My brain's not working. 10millionjourney.com. You can find it there. You can find it on Instagram at 10 million journey, Facebook 10 million journey, or myself at Anatoly Spektor on Instagram. And yeah, that would be the best way.
Awesome. And we'll have show notes too, the links in the show notes as well. So Anatoly, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed this story.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this content. We always deliver our content all for free. We want to make sure we give you as much value as possible. The only thing that we ask from you is to give us something free back. It just takes a little bit of time, but it takes no money at all, and that is to leave an iTunes review. It really helps other people come and find our content, and it really helps spread the knowledge and spread the love around the internet. And I am going to go ahead and read a few iTunes reviews because I love them. They always make my heart sing every time I read them. We generally get pretty good reviews. We don't have a lot of them. So just like an Amazon product, we need some product reviews, or some podcast reviews, that is. And so here I'm going to read a review from Clarice Gomez. Awesome podcast. Andrew, the host of the ZonCom podcast, highlights all the aspects of Amazon private label sellers and more in his Can't Miss podcast. The host and expert guests offer insights, advice, and information that is helpful to anyone that listens. Yes, Clarice, thank you so much. Yes, please go to iTunes, leave us a review, and write out something. You don't have to write out anything. Just hit those 5 stars, give us that rating. So I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much.